I am Amy. I am sitting just under the table on the terrace so I can kind of keep in the shade and not have to wear my sunglasses out here. So, welcome, BookTube, to Vegas. We've done a lot of shopping. I am not a casino person. I've never been a casino person, not really a gambler. So that is not the scene that we're doing. We're going to Meow Wolf this week and Neon Museum, and we got back from the Writer's Block today, which is a bookstore and artificial bird sanctuary. So I'll have clips of that somewhere in here. I haven't decided yet, but I'm going to do a super quick run through of our book haul. My total came out to $292.49. So that's actually less than I was planning on spending. So good for me. My husband picked up some books. You have no idea until you see a shelf of the entire collection just how many short introduction books there are. There are like hundreds of these things. There's short introductions for like every topic you can think of. But he got Literary Theory, Ludwig von Beethoven, the English Language, which is intriguing, Creativity, because he's really into writing, and The Devil, which is actually one that I want to read. So then next up I have The Siren Queen. This is about, I believe, a Chinese American in film in Hollywood. This was raved about by Hillary from Melted Books, so shout out to you. I bought this. The School for Good Mothers, I read this sometime late last year, I believe. It was very depressing. This woman has her child taken away from her, and she has to go to a school to learn how to be a good mom, and it's super abusive, and I loved this book. So I still try to buy more books that I have already read and loved, so I can curate my library to be a place of things that I love, and I try to try out books from the library, but when I went to the Writer's Block, I decided I don't have to say no, because I budgeted for this, I planned for this, so this is where I get to spend my money. A Woman is No Man by Itaf Rum. This was amazing. I believe they move over into America either from Kuwait or Iran. I don't remember. But this is amazing. And Itaf Rum has Evil Eye coming out, I want to say sometime around September, and I loved this book. So I pre-ordered that book. I finally got to pick up this one. This is also one of those kind of like generational novels, which I'm finding I really like. I kind of have to be in the mood for it, because you really got to sit down and get through the generation stories, but I end up loving them. Shadow of the Wind, about this mysterious like library where you can go hide your books that you don't want other people to find. I kind of saw the twist coming, but I still loved it, so I got a copy of this, and I like how the spine kind of looks like an old leather-bound book. What else have I read? I got Just Like Mother, which I read at the beginning of this year. It made it onto my list of monthly favorite reads. I have a couple of different favorite lists going, which I'll talk about more at the end of the year. But Just Like Mother, you have this woman who doesn't want to be a mom, and she ends up hanging out with this group of women who it turns out do want to be moms, and it gets weird and creepy. Had a very good time. All the rest of these are ones that I haven't read before. So I keep seeing House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher, and I keep seeing the cover, I keep hearing about it, I feel like it's going to be really good. It's a lot shorter than I thought it would be, which is a plus. The Manning Tree Witches, I saw this, I don't remember if I saw it on a video or what, but it's about witches, which is a topic that I'm very interested in. So I think this runs a little more historical fiction side of witches. Silence of the Lambs. I have only seen the movie once. I don't remember a lot about it because I think I was in high school when I saw it. I don't even know that I really paid attention to it that much. But I figured if people love the story that much, then I should really read the book, because I'm probably going to have a good time. I read Psycho recently and had a really good time with that book, and the movie was decent. I actually picked up a nonfiction. I've only read one nonfiction this year, I think. But this one looked really good, very much of our time. It's Monsters, A Fan's Dilemma. And it sounds like it starts with the Me Too movement and kind of goes through the discussions of what to do when great creators are terrible people. Very important cultural moment, and there are a lot of times when I don't even know what my thoughts are on that and where I stand on that. And I think that this book is going to be a really great discussion for me. The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi. I first saw this book from Joshana, and she said she had a really good time with it. And then last I talked to Hillary from Melted Books about this, I think she was like halfway through and really liking it. It sounds like it's a trilogy, so I wasn't going to pick this up yet, but everyone seems to be saying that it's fine as a standalone, so I decided to go ahead and get it. Also, it's one of those where, like, come on. I can't say no to a book cover that looks like this. I can't. Then, my last book, I saw this on a list somewhere. I think it was one of those, like, releases coming in 2023 lists, and you all know I don't read a ton of romance, but it's called Romantic Comedy. It's got this really fun cover, except for the stupid book club sticker. But it sounded really good, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take a chance and purchase a romance book that I haven't really heard about yet, because it's new. I'm even going to get it in hardback. So that is the book haul. I cannot lift up this pile of books yet, because I am still on weight restrictions. But that is my Vegas book haul. much less sunny time on the terrace today. So I actually get to sit at the table. Yesterday was amazing. So much to tell you. So there is this little bar in Vegas that, of course, my husband found it because we're both fucking nerds. And it's called Millennium Fandom. And at first I'm thinking, well, I don't know that I'd like that bar very much. Like, I am not a Star Wars person. I'm sorry. I'm not a Star Wars person. I'm just not. And he's like, no, it's more than just Star Wars. Like, let's go to Millennium Fandom. So last night we decide we have tickets to Meow Wolf at 10 p.m. So we're going to go ahead to Millennium Fandom for, like, dinner and drinks before. So we get there probably around 6 o'clock or, like, just before 6. And we walk in, and the owner immediately comes up to us. He's like, hi, how's it going? Like, welcome. How did you find us? He's so excited. This man was so incredibly passionate. It was really fun to see. And he's like asking about us. Are we from out of town? Is it okay that they're going to play a movie? And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. So it's a fairly small bar. You've got, like, the bar itself on one side. You've got these, like, old vintage couches and stuff on the sides. Not the most comfortable, because people have been sitting in them for a while, so it's all springs, but still, it looks really nice. And all along the walls are all of these little cubbies where you have the mask from The Mask, and you have the Terminator's head, and there was, like, Pac-Man artwork, just all sorts of stuff. It was so cool the way it was decorated. It had this big black and white checkered floor, and on one side of the room is a big projector screen for showing movies. So the night that we get there, it's Wednesday night, happens to also be indie film night. So on this screen they are playing Death Ship, which was made by this guy who worked on it for like 9 years. And the other thing you have to know about my husband is he is a big B-movie buff. Like, he loves B-movies. He loves watching Mystery Science Theater 3000. He loves it. He's such a movie nerd. And so we got to go to this bar and order these drinks based on different fandoms. I drank License to Kill and Bloodbath. They were delicious. We had pizza, we had a great lava cake, and we watched Death Ship, which this guy acted in his own movie, and, like, a bunch of him and his friends worked on the script, and he was learning Adobe, and through the 9 years he would, like, learn how to do it better, and so he'd go back and rework something, and finally his friend's like, dude, it's been 9 years, you need to just put out this movie. And it was fairly short. It was based off of a Richard Matheson story. And, you know, like, it's not a big budget film by any means. So rough around the edges, but the story was solid, and we just had an amazing time. So, like, the guy who made and acted in the film is there along with some of his team members, and they go up and they introduce the film, and then we watch this movie, and then they come back afterwards and we get to ask questions. And I got to talk to them afterwards, like after the question and answer period, and we're just chatting about movies and about things that we're geeky about. I finally met other people who have watched the 1980s movie Shopping Mall, which is not super appropriate, I think, for me to discuss in too much detail, but it's a really good time, and if you like B movies, watch Shopping Mall from the 1980s. It's pretty great. And I've never met other people who have watched that movie. But my husband had me watch that movie. It was great. So we did that. Amazing time. Then we go ahead and leave to go to Meow Wolf, which I have tickets for. And there's a couple of different ways you can do it. So there's several Meow Wolf exhibitions around. Currently there's 3. You have San Fernando? San Jose? One of those in California. You have one in Denver, and you have one here in Vegas. And Vegas is themed Omega Mart. So you walk into this grocery store, and you walk into the door that's like the freezer door, and you're walking through this tunnel that has these like Coca-Cola type bottles that look normal, and then the necks start stretching and they start looking melty, and you go into the experience. And it's such a maze. There's so many rooms with so many themes and lights, and oh my god, I cannot imagine how much Meow Wolf pays on electricity every month. I don't want to think about that too hard, but it was amazing. And I didn't realize there's actually a couple of different ways you can do it. So I will say it's very stimulating. I did have to sit down at one point. I'm like, I need a little bit of a brain break. I need to just kind of sit in one spot and decompress a little, because there's so many lights and sounds and so many things to look at. And they give you like 2 hours to walk through. But so what we did was we just walked through the exhibit, and we looked at a bunch of things, and we just took our time with it and just kind of enjoyed ourselves. But other ways to do it is that there's actually a storyline, so you can look through and see what you can kind of figure out of the story, or there's actually, I didn't get a lot of explanation for it, and I didn't buy like there's some sort of employee training that I was told about, which would be interesting. But then there's also, I guess, some sort of way to track things so you can really go in depth and investigate the storyline. So like they made up this story. All I really remember is that this girl is missing, and there's some sort of science project going on, and you figure out what's going on and what the story is as you go through the exhibit. I thought, considering the size of the exhibit and all of the lights and everything that's going on, I thought investigating the story this time around would be a little overwhelming, but next time we're in Vegas, I might actually go ahead and do that and investigate the story. But you can actually buy stuff in this grocery store. So once we came back out of the main exhibit and kind of made our way back into the store, like, they have all these funky cereal boxes and drinks, and the little, you know, the little, they look like binoculars, and you press the button and it goes through the pictures on the wheel. They had that for Meow Wolf, and I thought that was so cool. But there's stuff you can buy in the store. And it's in Area 15, which Meow Wolf is just a part of that. The rest of that particular building is stores. But then outside, the next building over is the Illuminarium, which is a place we're considering going. But there's also Arcadia Earth, which looks similar to the Illuminarium, so I'm not sure which one we're going to go to. But right now, I'm leaning towards the Illuminarium since it's right next to Meow Wolf, because that just makes me think, oh, it's going to be a great experience. But that's what we had going on Wednesday. It was amazing. Highly recommend. As far as books, still working my way through Book Lovers. It's the only one I'm reading on this trip. This is the first time that I've gone on a trip, and I have only brought one book with me, because I knew that I was going to do a lot of shopping at that bookstore, and I'm like, I don't need to carry anything else. Which actually, on my Libby app, I did just get The Secret History of Witches, which is a book I have on my physical TBR, so I got it as an audiobook on my phone, so I might start listening to that on the plane ride back. I don't know. Plane ride's going to be pretty late, and it's just like an hour and a half, 2 hours, but we'll see. I can always wait to start it until I get home. That's gonna be it for right now. I haven't been doing like a ton of filming around Vegas because there's just so much to do, and you know, I only have so much battery power. But I did, I took out our GoPro, which I really haven't gotten to use, but we've had it for years now. And I was looking through the accessories. There's so many accessories for it, and one of them was a chest harness. So I went ahead and strapped my GoPro to my chest, which the way I think the straps are supposed to go, the camera was angled down a little bit, but you'll know by the time you see this video if it worked out. I mean, I charged the camera, I pressed the little power button, so hopefully I will have some amazing Meow Wolf footage for you, because I'm like, my phone is not going to be, I'm not going to be able to hold up my hand and use my phone to film the whole time. I couldn't bring in like my regular camera because they don't want stuff that's going to get in other people's way, but having the GoPro on my chest, it was totally fine. So yes, that is it for me right now, but I will update you on the rest of the trip as we go about.